Let's start with the Thunder and Clippers.
Yeah, like you mentioned, too, the Thunder and Clippers, I'm anticipating that to be a great fantasy game tonight. You said earlier it's projected to be one of the highest scoring games of the evening, and there's a lot of interesting fantasy plays in that game. At the center position, you've got two of the league's best shot blockers, DeAndre Jordan averaging 2.5 blocks a game.
The Knicks have lost 9 of their last 10 games, including the last 5 straight, prompting the team Monday morning to announce the firing of head coach Derek Fisher. Kurt Rambis will be the interim head coach. Now, the 14-seed Lumberjacks entered the tournament on a 20-game win streak. They've been impressive so far this season. Is this upset really much of a surprise to you? Could he be interim no more? Kurt Rambis, when he took over the Knicks head coaching job, the Knicks were just 5 games out of a playoff spot, but a bad team has gotten a bit worse in the recent end of the season. GA, is this the guy to keep this job next season as the Knicks head coach?
Well, I think he's going to have an opportunity.
All season long, the Clippers have been preparing for the playoffs, and they knew it would be hard, but the mountain of adversity this team was faced with was nothing to be foreseen. This is the 5th of the Kia NBA Performance Awards. Yeah. You were able to donate a Kia to a charity of your choice. What went into selecting the charity to receive this car? And we're here to break down the top uncommitted quarterbacks for the 2017 recruiting class. Felder, let's start with Braxton Burmeister. He was formerly committed to Arizona, but changed his mind. Buccaneers GM Jason Light says Tampa Bay is listening to trade offers for Mike Glennon, but since we haven't seen a lot from him lately, what can he bring to a team's offense?
Yeah, well, he's a very good player.
Now, you said at one point that this is probably the best offense in college football you've seen in your coaching career, and you've been a coach for quite some time. What is it about this offense?
I think they're really special.
Let's send it down the field to Madelyn Burke for an update about a key player for Notre Dame.
Thanks, Josh. Well, Notre Dame running back Khalfani Muhammad rushed for 218 yards and 4 touchdowns last year against Birmingham. But in the first game of this season, he suffered a rib injury against Sarah. Kept him out last week. I'm told he will play tonight.
He's a special build as far as an NFL running back is concerned.
And you mentioned adjustment, not just adjustment to the game, but the mental aspect of adjusting to being in the league as well.
Yes.
Is probably a big thing, too.
It is. Sometimes it's hard to let your physical ability go when you're thinking a lot.
Hat tip to Tom Crean. He joins Fred Taylor, head coach of The Ohio State University, as one of just 2 coaches to ever beat Kentucky 3 times in tournament play. These 2 teams should really figure out a way to play in the regular season as well.
Yeah, the Spurs defense is fantastic, and a big part of that is Kawhi Leonard. I mean, not only defensively, but he's had at least 19 points a game in each of his last 4 games, and he's a consistent contributor in non-scoring categories as well, but especially defensively. The Spurs haven't played since Friday, so he'll be well rested. He's going to be a big part of this team's game plan. He's going to be well prepared for Paul George.
Now, it was a very physical game tonight, but in the 4th quarter, Robin Lopez had a flagrant 2 foul on Blake Griffin, and this team says the physicality on Blake is getting all too familiar. Now, Patrick Ewing has made a case for why he would be a strong candidate as the next Knicks head coach. If they don't go with Rambis, how strong of a choice would Ewing be?
If Steph Curry does what Steph Curry does, he's going to fill up the box score.
The danger, though, has to be for both of these guys if the game gets out of hand. Will they play enough minutes to earn enough FanDuel points?
If the game gets out of hand, I think it's going to be because Steph Curry earned enough FanDuel points.
Whoa.
So I think that's going to be a safe bet to make.
Get some extra points if he does it in just 3 quarters, right?
There you go, right? No, there should be.
Talk to your bosses, Madelyn.
Verjao is coming back. He's healthy this year. He's coming back from that Achilles injury. He looks good. Mozgov still has that kind of lingering knee soreness, but he's playing through it. It doesn't seem to be really affecting him. You don't really know how the rotation is going to affect. Both or either of these guys could go off.
So, Madelyn, we're getting tweets about this exact rotation here at big man for Cleveland. Does Verjao eat into Mozgov's minutes, or is it enough? Who do you take tonight? Do you take Mozgov, who's a little more expensive, or do you go the cheaper Verjao?
You know, I think that's going to be kind of one of those things. You almost have to flip a coin. But if it was me picking, I would go Mozgov. I think he's been looking more consistent. Verjao, I think, is working his way back into that rotation and back into that field. I think he's going to be great this season. But if you're picking between those 2, I would go Mozgov.
Madelyn, dropping the knowledge. You're not done just yet.
Brandon Marshall called it the Jordan rule. Darrelle Revis prefers the Kobe rule. But either way, Revis says it isn't so. Marshall claimed NFL officials might be looking the other way when it comes to Revis, comparing it to the perceived favoritism of star players in the NBA.
Well, Madelyn Burke, we like your lineup. I'm not so sure on Harden. I'm hesitant on Harden, although our award-winning director, Jimbo Allen, says he guarantees at least 50 fantasy points tonight from Harden.
Jimbo's a smart man.
We'll see. He knows how to brew a cup of coffee, that's for sure. Madelyn Burke from FanDuel Insider, thanks so much.
A lot to like, indeed. Like you mentioned, they've got a lot of shooters. They've been fun to watch. We'll see if the football school can bring it home.